Joining me now is the former Russian Prime Minister, Mikhail Kasyanov. Thank you very much for being with us today. And I think my first question is, do Russians really believe that NATO posed this threat to Russia, as Vladimir Putin said this morning, or the threat to Russian-occupied territories? Do Russians really believe that?
I think I should admit that the propaganda which lasted for a decade just created a feeling of, I would say, of half of Russia's population that NATO created a danger and a threat to Russia. Not all the population, as Mr. Putin would like to see and believe, but a lot of people continue to believe that this propaganda, the descriptions of all this threat is a reality. But that's why the society, in fact, is split now 50 by 50 in Russia. And right now, just by the way, people started to considering and reconsidering their attitude to what is going on.
So if 50% don't believe it and will increasingly question the war, is President Putin in trouble, do you think?
I think yes, he is already starting in a trouble period of time, and in fact he stolen the victory day, just Remembrance Day from Russians. This was family memory, and he stole this and created an instrument of propaganda out of this victory day. And in fact, he's cynical, I would say, trying to make it equal the war in Ukraine with the war against Nazi Germany in the Second World War. That is the crucial cynical attitude. I think that's already clear that he is very angry on everything was going around. And in today's speech, he didn't demonstrate any enthusiasm. And the main goal, he said, it's not the change of the regime. It is not, as he said before, so I mentioned denazification, but simply the protection of people living in Donbass, which is also artificial reasoning. And he tries to change history. He tries to destroy the history in a way to somehow find justification of his brutal war against Ukraine.
Yeah, Mikhail, that's really interesting. Do you think then that he knows he's miscalculated? Do his senior military officers believe that he's miscalculated?
I think that's already the case, and that's I think I already have feeling just watching Mr. Putin and his speech and temper and just in fact the style of explaining what he wanted to explain. That's he already just losing the strength, I think, and he was misled, and he didn't expect such I would say bravery and resistance of Ukrainians. Ukrainians appeared to be just too strong, very much strong to defending their land, and in fact his short war failed to take place, and now we're coming to the period of I would say the war of economic and military potentials, and just the ability of Ukrainians to defend their land and the military supplies by the Western countries to Ukraine just allows to expect that the upcoming future Ukraine could get a decisive advantage, a military advantage on the battlefield. And in this case, just beginning of Putin era would start. Beginning of the end of Putin's era would start immediately.
So let's just be clear what you're saying there. Almost whatever happens now, whatever victory he tries to claim, you think this could well be the beginning of the end of Vladimir Putin?
Yes, and today Mr. Putin didn't announce any victory. He called for future victory, but today he said we are fighting against Nazi, whatever just he mentioned just in his explanation of the threat. But it's absolutely just in his mind. But it's nothing to do with reality. But there was no any statement about just the positive achievements and just not saying victory. He called for future victory. It means he already losing the strength. And I think just all the generals and officers who was watching and listening this morning just already understood. They got this feeling already just of weakness.
So what do you think then that President Putin will decide that a victory looks like, if you see what I'm saying? I mean, he had his big ambitions at the beginning of this. What do you think he will be looking at now as a victory that he could walk away with and sell to the Russian people?
Right. He just minimized his appetite, I would say, just by achieving or creating a land corridor between Donbass and Crimea. Crimea for him is a crucial point. That's in his I would say, I wouldn't say heart, but that is the major achievement he believes for his 22 years of rule. And that's why that is very sensitive, extremely sensitive point, Crimea. And even in his speech, he mentioned today that there was a threat on our historical lands, including Crimea, he emphasized. He already said that it's like a historical land of Russia. That's another reason why Russia annexed Crimea, why Putin annexed Crimea. I think it's important. That's what his achievement. He believes that he will be able to sell to Russians that the land corridor between Donbass and Crimea.
Okay, thank you very much indeed, Mikhail Kasyanov. Thank you. Appreciate your time.